And it only took half a day for Nike to get woke and go broke, because now they're facing the backlash from pulling the Betsy Ross shoe. For those that aren't familiar with the story, it was trending basically #1 on Twitter. I did a video about it. Nike has pulled the Betsy Ross shoe. It's a shoe for the 4th of July with the original American flag on it because Colin Kaepernick apparently called them up and said it was offensive. And so they agreed and canceled the shoe. Some people are selling it for a very high price. It's going to be a collector's item. Naturally, conservatives for the most part are angry, but many moderates are outraged as well because it's insane. Do these people really hate America? I gotta say, maybe they really do. So anyway, at the time, early this morning when I did the video, they didn't really go broke. I mean, it's going to cost them money to pull the shoe. That was a waste of money. But now they're being truly hit. This story: Arizona governor pulls state money for Nike plant over Betsy Ross flag sneaker. Colin Kaepernick report. Apparently, they were going to receive a bunch of incentives to come to Arizona, and now it's been pulled. I really don't understand why people think Nike is some kind of bastion of wokeness. They've been accused in the past of having, sweatshop labor. They're a multinational corporation that doesn't care about you and that is just trying to manipulate the woke left for political points and for marketing points. They're not a wholesome company by any stretch, by any means. Let's read the story. CBS News reports, the blowback to Nike's decision to pull Betsy Ross American flag sneakers didn't take long. Arizona Governor Doug Ducey on Tuesday said he's rescinding financial incentives recently offered to the maker of athletic shoes to build a $185 million plant and bring 500 jobs to the state. The governor, a Republican, made his move a day after the Goodyear City Council unanimously approved Nike's plan to build its third U.S. manufacturing plant, making Nike Air shoes in the suburb of Phoenix. The city agreed to waive nearly $1 million in plan review and permit fees and reimburse Nike for another $1 million for the jobs created, according to local media reports. I mean, that's all really good news for the Arizona area. So I would warn, Arizona, don't cut off your nose to spite your face. But I will say they know better than I do. I'd imagine these jobs would have been great for the economy. And it's good to see that Nike is going to be manufacturing shoes in the U.S. This might not be a good thing to do. It might just be an emotional reaction because Nike apparently doesn't like the American flag. But hey, like I said, get woke, go broke, maybe for everybody. So let's read on. As the deal was approved, Nike separately decided against releasing the Air Max 1 Quick Strike 4th of July, as it featured the old version of the American flag, the company told CBS News in a statement. The shoe's design included a depiction of the Betsy Ross flag, which features 13 red and white stripes and 13 stars to represent the original U.S. colonies. The Wall Street Journal reported Monday that former NFL star and current Nike spokesman Colin Kaepernick objected to the flag's use during slavery. Kaepernick has not commented publicly on the report. Ducey, in a tweet, called Nike's decision a shameful retreat, saying American businesses should be proud of our country's history, not abandoning it. Ducey, the former CEO of Cold Stone Creamery, wow, really? I didn't know that, said he'd ordered the Arizona Commerce Authority to withdraw all financial incentive dollars under their discretion that the state was providing for the company to locate there. Nike did not immediately respond to requests for comment on Ducey's announcement. Nike also faced criticism late last year over its controversial advertising campaign featuring Kaepernick, which ultimately had the effect of burnishing the iconic brand's appeal to many investors. Kaepernick in 2016 started kneeling during the national, we get it. And then they corrected the story because they changed his name. But I have the actual tweet thread from Doug Ducey, and it's a little long, but let's read through it and see what he's actually saying. His own statement. He said, "Today was supposed to be a good day in Arizona, with the announcement of a major Nike investment in Goodyear, Arizona. And then news broke yesterday afternoon that they're nixing the Betsy Ross flag. Words cannot express my disappointment at this terrible decision. I am embarrassed for Nike. Nike is an iconic American brand and American company. This country, our system of government, and free enterprise have allowed them to prosper and flourish. Instead of celebrating American history the week of our nation's independence, Nike has apparently decided that Betsy Ross is unworthy and has bowed to the current onslaught of political correctness and historical revisionism. It is a shameful retreat for the company. American businesses should be proud of our country's history, not abandoning it." But it's not just Nike. There's a bunch of companies that have been outsourcing factories, sending jobs overseas. And I said this recently, I think it was Dylan Radigan who said the country was being extracted. Think about what these businesses are doing and how it's going to impact our economy. Americans buy the product. But where do Americans get money from? Their jobs. If the jobs move overseas, that money is now going into the pocket of Chinese and Mexican workers. I have no problem with those workers. By all means, congratulations on your job. But these American companies are producing products overseas, sending money overseas. Americans spend money on that product that goes into the pocket of the rich CEOs and the people who work there, in a managerial capacity and an executive capacity. And then a lot of that money goes to foreign citizens. So how does that money make its way back to the U.S.? Essentially, those jobs are being taken away, and it's resulting in a middle America that, lo and behold, votes for Donald Trump because their jobs are being taken away. So I will say this. I ultimately think it's a bad idea to pull these incentives simply because Nike didn't want to make a promotional decision. It's kind of a weird circumstance, right? Nike is going to do a promo shoe. They made a decision not to do it. I think it's silly. I think it's stupid. And I think it's a mistake. But I think the market should punish them, not the government's incentives and tax program. I think if people want to react to what Nike is doing, then react and have negative press and don't buy their shoe. This, I think, goes a little too far. The jobs would have been a good thing, but let's read on and see what he has to say. He says, Nike has made its decision, and now we're making ours. I've ordered the Arizona Commerce Authority to withdraw all financial incentive dollars under their discretion that the state was providing for the company to locate here. Arizona's economy is doing just fine without Nike. All right, well then I guess I can leave it there and say maybe they didn't really need it. Maybe this was just okay, fine, Nike, we'll give you some incentives. If they don't need it, then I guess it's go broke. We don't need to suck up to companies that consciously denigrate our nation's history. And finally, it shouldn't take a controversy over a shoe for our kids to know who Betsy Ross is, a founding mother. Her story should be taught in all American schools. In the meantime, it's worth Googling her. We see the top response here. Good. There are plenty of blue states that will take this economic development. So this person is kind of bringing up the criticism that I did. Nike is, here's the problem. You're going to see some blue states say, hey, we'll give you a better incentive. You might see like New York say, we just lost Amazon, Nike, why don't you come here and we'll respect your decision to tarnish the American flag. All this does is give an opportunity. Well, actually, this might actually be really good for the Republicans, because think about this. If a blue state does step up and say, bring the American flag shoe and the manufacturing plant to us, they're basically just drawing that dividing line where Republicans are going to say the Democrats have lost it. I'll tell you what, man. Supermarkets sell American flags. You want to know why they sell American flags? Because even moderates, even Democrats who aren't this woke progressive nonsense, who don't believe this nonsense, like America, and they buy American flags. As long as these companies keep pandering to the woke progressives who they weren't going to buy your shoe in the first place, dude. As long as they keep doing this, all that's going to happen is moderates will vote Republican or abandon the Democratic Party. You know, one of the videos I made a few days ago about the Democratic debates, a Washington Post reporter saying that she overheard someone say, I don't think I'm a Democrat anymore, based on what they were saying in the debates. And it's a hard argument. It's a hard position to deny. It's a hard idea to argue. The Democrats have gone nuts. We're at a point now where Colin Kaepernick thought it was appropriate to say no American flags on our shoes. I went to school. They taught us about the original American flag. It's a piece of our nation's history. It's not a representation of the bad. It's a representation of the good. And Betsy Ross, isn't she kind of like a feminist icon? A woman made the American flag. And look at this. Let's see some of the other responses to the tweets. Losing jobs for constituents to own the libs. Brilliant. Gotta say, I think that that criticism isn't wrong. Trying to spite Nike and getting rid of their jobs, maybe not a good idea. But I'll tell you this. Nike might not change their plans. They might just still go to Arizona, and now there you go. Get woke, go broke. Someone said, I wish you had the same energy you're showing Nike for the men and women that marched in the streets of America waving the World War II German flag. Someone responded, so less jobs. This person says, historians aren't even sure if the story of Washington visiting Betsy Ross, who cares about that? A state punishing a company for exercising its freedom to speak or not to speak a certain way sounds problematic on First Amendment grounds. I agree. I completely agree. It's kind of a weird and silly position that a government is gonna renege on a deal because Nike made a detestable decision. Look, I'll criticize Nike all day and night for pulling the shoe, but should the government really intervene in a way to disincentivize speech? I don't think so. At the same time, this isn't a matter of restricting. It's a matter of not giving an incentive. So it's different. Nike's losing a net positive over their decision. I think it's a weird thing for the government to do. But the government isn't telling them they can't speak. So it's not restrictive. At the end of the day, I'll say this. Let the market punish Nike. If Nike wants to make these pull these shoes, then don't buy their shoes. Plain and simple. We'll see what happens. Apparently, they still made money after the Colin Kaepernick campaign in the first place. That's probably why they bent the knee to him. But I'll leave it there. Stick around. More videos to come starting tomorrow at 10 a.m. on this channel. The podcast will be 6:30 every day, iTunes and wherever you can find podcasts. Thanks for hanging out. I'll see you all next time.